your shoulder makes your skin crawl. And we only come alive after nightfall. I've been singing in the shadows, slipping through the streets. Roll up right beside you, walk right to my feet. Something's right behind you, hope that it's not me. Something's right behind.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Dual Cypher, and today we have Zach Williamson. What'd you do this weekend?
I went X11 at the Goodlettsville, Tennessee Regional. I ended up finishing 9th overall. The guy I tied with got 8th, so decent weekend. Could have went 8th or 9th, could have went either way, but overall successful. The list was good. Figured we'd show it. We played Kashtira. It's incredibly standard at this point, but we have the 3 Fenrir, 3 Arise Heart, 2 Unicorn, 1 Scareclaw. Scareclaw, you can get to it when you need it. You don't want to brick on it. Mandatory. We played the 3rd one of this since we can only play 2. We played the 3rd Rise Heart since we can only play 2 Unicorn, and then the 3 Fenrir is in every deck. And then the rest of the engine, 3 Births, 3 Theosis, 4 Planet, and the 1 engine requirement Big Bang. Most of my hands consisted of 2 Birth, 2 Theosis through the early rounds of the tournament. It's just kind of what you get with this deck. But we played through it. You eventually top deck into something. Makes it playable, but no sauce here. We've been doing that for a while. The defensives / consistency stuff. 3 Prosperity, staple of the deck. 3 Ash. We decided to go ahead and main the Shifter. Standard in this deck completely. Best card in the format, Ash Blossom. Good against branded Chimera. Ends a lot of unchained turns. So pretty normal. And then Elijah Green and I theoried the deck together, and we kind of worked on the defensives quite a bit. And what we came up with was 5 books. We just felt like that was the correct ratio to kind of always get 1 in your hand. And you don't want to just brick on books, but you always want to see 1. We felt like Book of Moon was a little better than Book of Eclipse. It was a little awkward this weekend because I played 4 Chimera, and Chimera kind of they don't like to be targeted. They'll banish Quaddle on you. So overall, this was fine. I saw it a lot, so saw it when I needed it. And then we played 3 Lance, which was pretty standard. But then we played 3 enemy controller. We opted to play the Lance and the enemy controller over like Crossout Designator. We just felt like it was a little higher skill expression. And we wanted to, we've been playing the deck for a while. We feel like we can squeeze out some interaction here or there. And this is a great 2-way card, and so is this. With enemy controller, you can, it can keep somebody off Zeus by simply putting it in defense in the battle phase. I played 4 Chimera this weekend, and so just lancing their guy on board, keeping them off of a Guardian Chimera was incredibly impactful. You just kind of start setting up your board. They'll have a guy on board. They want to get their pop off their Chimera. You lance it. They have to discard their entire hand. Same thing with Econ. We would just Econ their guy away. And they couldn't resolve the Chimera. They have to discard their hand, and it puts them in a really awkward situation. I resolved this against every single Chimera player, and probably multiple times. This came up so much. But it also protects your guys. There's a neat play where you get your Fenrir booked in the damage step. Your Fenrir will flip up, and you can target their guy where your Fenrir doesn't die, and now your Fenrir is live again. And then it makes it super awkward for them to play around in main phase 2. So just you can squeeze a lot of skill expression out of these cards, and so we kind of opted to go with them. And the main reason for this was Unchained. So this trades really well into the Unchained board. You just kind of commit a guy, they go to pop it or they go to fuse with it. You steal the XZ, and then they can't fuse, or you can negate it, and then they're kind of forced to use the trap and pop something. And if they end on the the Nightmare Griffin, you can just kind of steal the Nightmare Griffin, then you have link zones, and you can summon your Kashtira monsters via birth or whatever, so kind of like I say, you can put yourself in a weird situation with these cards. Elijah said it really well at the end of one of his matches. He said, there's kind of really no reason for this card to be as good as it is. It puts you in a lot of very unique game states that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get out of without it. So we just kind of came in confidently and wanted to play small ball. No big blowout cards or anything like that. And then, that was the main deck. The extra deck is incredibly flexible, as long as you play these cards. You can play 2 of this. I again play very conservative with the deck. I barely made this card at all. I only summon this card if I have Lance. Outside of that, with Econ, I wanted to be able to get my guys booked and still have a playable card. So I didn't want to put all my eggs into this basket, get it booked, have kind of nothing to play with. So the Econ and the Lance allowed us to play through certain interactions. But for the most part, I would play incredibly conservatively, and my goal every turn was to end on some combination of Unicorn and Birth in hand, or one or the other. And so I would opt to kind of just make this, search a Unicorn, or I would send Big Bang, add Unicorn back to my hand, opt not to special summon it, and just end on a really modest board with some defensives. And so I really like the third one, just because I'm playing super, kind of interactive Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't really like just throwing the Arise Heart on board and praying. So we have, kind of this gets us out from under a Nib token or an Ibly, something like that. And then we have our Baron. Didn't really come up this weekend, but it's plenty of room in the extra deck, so definitely comes up. You can normal summon Ash Blossom and threaten a lot. We have our Prost targets. This didn't come up this weekend, but it's really good into things like Runic and Unchained. Just keep your guys from getting popped off. This did come up. So I didn't make a Rise Heart very much at all this weekend, but I did make it late game against Rescue Ace, and they did end up outing the Arise Heart, and I was able to Omega it back into my extra deck, and he scooped before we got there, but basically I was going to remake this on top of a Shangri-La, and it was lethal. But it provided me with the lethal line, just being able to add it back to the extra deck. So this did come up. I'm really glad I had it in my extra deck this weekend. I feel like Garua just never comes up. Some other tech cards. This one is the Infinitrack Smasher. It's just nice to be able to make a 3100 guy. Sometimes you need to out a lovely lady and she's 2900 and you don't have much that can really get over it in the extra deck. And, just attack for 31, Zeus. And then it's a great, in theory, great form of removal to be able to attach in the damage step. Didn't really ever come up, just usually got banished off Prosperity. Dark Arm Dragon is mandatory. You just have to be able to kind of punch something, blow up a card, make Zeus, kind of recycle your Theosis. So those were all very good. Big Eye is Big Eye. And then I played Mecha Phantom Beast, Draco Sack. I really like having this card in the extra deck. Out Skill Drain, there's just some neat application. One of my games, I had to enemy controller away a Rescue Ace card because it was putting a lot of pressure on my board, and I end up making Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack, and Econ can kind of be awkward because you're taking monsters that don't really do much for you, and oftentimes we're locked into XZ monsters, so we can't just link them away. So you can detach off this, make a couple tokens, go into the battle phase, and it will threaten Zeus, and at the end of it you can pop a token and pop the guy they have on your field to kind of keep it from going back to them in the end phase. So that came up for me, and yeah, I ended up making a Zeus through a couple pops because I made this, it couldn't be destroyed by battle, I lanced it, and then I also had a Shangri-Era up on the board, so in attack position. So there's kind of nothing they could do to get over the Shang and the Mecha Phantom Beast, and it forced the Zeus. And it also saved me through a access code talker, because this couldn't be popped, so they kind of had to pop some tokens, try to pop this, and then attack Shangri-Era, and it lived and ended up winning that game. So I'm a really big fan of this card. And then there are lines where you can kind of like econ something, make 2 tokens, and you can Donner and have some plays. And then, you know, 2 Zeus, standard. And then the Abyss Dweller. This was our tech choice. It's actually super easy to get to. I only ended up playing 1 Unchained, and those matches were super unfortunate. Just completely drew unplayable. But in theory, it's really good against Tier. It's really good against Unchained. Any guy plus any way to Rise Heart equals discard. So didn't come up, but in theory, it's really good. And then the side deck. I drew this one time. We thought that we'd be playing a lot of Unchained, and Nibiru would be really good into that. But in my Unchained matchup, I ashed him. I drew unplayable. He beat me to death with a Yama over the course of like 8 turns. Game 2, I kill him pretty swiftly. Game 3, this is my 6th card off the top. I Ash Blossom him. He passes on nothing. And this is my 6th card. I don't play, and he summoned 3 times. Hit me for 4K. Passed back to him again, and he killed me. So I drew this exactly twice. Resolved it once. In theory, it was fine. And then for the rest of my side deck, I did not draw this once. This is the 3rd book, so in theory I drew it, but I did not draw this once. In theory it's good. We won again. We were worried about Unchained, so you know these were good into Unchained, and we felt like this was a good going first option, just kind of keep them off popping the trap. Good into trap matchups, but we just kind of wanted to max out on this and give ourselves a chance to pop some to banish some Unchained cards, and yeah, it just never came up. For back row and for Rescue Ace, again, never drew them, so couldn't tell you how it really performed. And Dimensional Barrier, it's in there, you know, for Pearly, Manadium, Branded, Chimera. Again, never drew it. It was really unfortunate. My side deck just did not matter. But I mean, in theory, it was good. We had a couple guys playing this card for card list, and a lot of it came up for them. This card was really cool. Eli, who also played this exact list, had one of the coolest game states I've ever seen, where he had 150 life points, had 2 of these in hand, and just double lava golemed his opponent. And then in the battle phase of his opponent's next turn, enemy controllered their Shadow Mosquito. And it was an instant win, because Shadow Mosquito makes you attack, and he outed their entire board with this, and so Lava Golem had to attack and basically burn him to death. So that was a super neat interaction, and it was again this card for card deck, but didn't come up for me. Never drew any of it, but was happy with the way it performed overall. Wish we could have got top 8, but that's the way tiebreakers work sometimes. But just want to shout out everybody that rode down there with me. Eric, Ezra, Clifton, Eli, Joe and Rain Griffin. They tested the Unchained matchup with me, helped me with that quite a bit. Austin, Kai, those guys played with me a lot. Shout out everybody at Through the Decades Cards and Gaming in Louisville. That's my locals, and it was a good weekend. Like I say, wish we could have got top 8, but we did almost enough to get there. But
like a spider on your shoulder makes your skin crawl.